The Earth is broken up into plates. Plates are large swaths of solid rock that are moved by currents in the asthenosphere. The asthenosphere is the top layer of the mantle. Plate boundaries can be three types: divergent, convergent, or transform. Depending on how the two plates are moved, they have a name which is assigned to them. If both plates are moving together, hitting each other, it is called a convergent boundary. If they move apart from each other, they're divergent. When they move side by side, they are a transform boundary. Convergent boundaries can cause mountains or subduction. Subduction is when an oceanic plate and a continental plate or two oceanic plates meet at a convergence where the denser plate, which is usually oceanic, falls underneath the other. Subduction can still happen to two oceanic plates because not all plates are created equal. This process usually results in the accretion of materials from the subducting plate to the other, less dense plate on the top. Over time, this adds new materials to the less dense plate. Divergent boundaries diverge, which creates rift valleys. Rift valleys are just steep valleys. Transform boundaries can cause mountains when they are not perfectly straight. For example, Mount Tam was created by a little-known transform boundary called the San Andreas Fault. Transform boundaries are almost never perfectly straight.
The Farallon Plate was an oceanic plate that bordered on North America before the Pacific Plate did. The Farallon Plate and the North American Plate came together at a convergent boundary, and as the Farallon Plate was a dense oceanic plate, it subducted beneath the less dense North American Plate. Different chunks of rock accreted at different times from the Farallon to the North American Plate, creating the different layers that make California. These layers were compressed by the other layers, which formed them into narrow bands. The land that San Francisco is on, the Franciscan Complex, is not compressed, as there's no more layers to compress it. That is because it is newer than all the other layers, and because no new layers are being made, as the Farallon Plate has been completely subducted beneath the central and southern part of California.
There are a few different types of common rocks in California, and more specifically San Francisco. Some are brought by accretion from the Farallon Plate, and some aren't. Granite is a continental, intrusive igneous rock that is formed inside of volcanoes and cooled slowly, allowing its crystals to form. Granite forms the Sierras and the regions of California formed on the continent. You won't find granite in San Francisco because San Francisco is a piece of land made by oceanic rocks, and granite is continental. Greywacke is a sandy sedimentary rock formed in the shallow ocean near the shore. Chert is a mid-ocean sedimentary rock made of the silica-based shells of tiny sea animals falling down. Basalt is a deep ocean, extrusive igneous rock that is formed near volcanoes. It makes up the ocean floor. The reason that basalt is called extrusive instead of intrusive is because of something like intrusive granite is formed in the volcano, unlike basalt, which is formed outside of the volcano. Greenstone is a metamorphic rock that is formed when heat and pressure are applied to basalt. It recooks and turns into greenstone. Serpentine or serpentinite is a metamorphic rock like greenstone, but instead of being recooked from basalt, it is recooked from peridotite, which is a different igneous rock. Chert, greywacke, basalt, greenstone, and serpentine are common in San Francisco. Sandstone is a sedimentary rock made out of sand that is formed in water. Sandstone sand dunes are another type of common rock in San Francisco. A sand dune is a bunch of sands on top of more sand. A conglomerate is a sedimentary rock that contains a bunch of smaller rocks and something to hold them all together, like clay or silt. A melange is another type of mixture of mostly chert, greywacke, and basalt with some clay that forms smooth, cute hills. Some of the rocks in the melange stick out in what is called a knocker.
After the Farallon Plate was completely subducted in the south of California, the Pacific Plate became the boundary to the North American Plate. The Pacific Plate and the North American Plate had a transformed boundary along the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is a right lateral strike-slip fault that goes from the southwest coast of California all the way up to the midwest coast of California. Right lateral means that if you are standing on one side of the fault, the other side is moving slowly towards the right. The Pacific side is moving northwest very slowly, and the North American side is moving south or southeast. This movement can be seen in the movement of Point Reyes, which is on the Pacific side. Point Reyes used to be down near Los Angeles around 20 million years ago, but it has slowly moved up. And now, we reach the end. As all good things must come to an end, so too must San Francisco and California. When the Pacific Plate moves upward on the San Andreas Fault against the downward motion of the North American Plate, it will slowly open up the Gulf of California and eventually move California away from North America toward Japan and Northeast Asia, where it will be subducted beneath the Eurasian Plate and be gone forever.